Welcome back to Wasted Local Fantasy Football, where the season doesn't matter because it's such a stupid off season and I'm not in the playoffs, so therefore it doesn't matter.
I think the season matters a lot myself. That's just me.
Well, yeah. You've only lost one game, and I'm very upset about it.
11-1, baby. 11-1.
You're about to be 11-2, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
So yeah, we just gave away two of the not scores, but two of the matchups from this past week.
Right.
So how you been?
Yeah, I've been good. I've been working. That's about all I gotta say, I guess.
I mean, you've had a great year. I mean, your team is undefeated in real football, and
They indeed are.
Yeah, and your fantasy football team is almost undefeated.
Damn you, Brittany.
So
got my revenge, but you know.
Yeah, she's like I said at the during the draft episode, everybody was like giving me crap for giving her like a like low draft, but yeah, her starters are good. But I said, like the very first episode of this season, if she suffers injuries, she's going to be hurting. Like
that's exactly what happened too.
Yeah, and I mean, it hasn't mattered because everybody else has just been sucking so bad that
I hear that.
Like the other teams that are fighting for their playoffs are 500. So it's not. It's worse, or it's about the same as like the NFC East in real football. It's like, yeah, they're going to make some teams are going to make it in there. She got in there because everybody else sucks. So,
hey, you know what? It happens. Look at the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just been a bad year of football for me. It's just.
Listen, I'm calling it. I think Pittsburgh loses to Washington this week.
I actually said that yesterday too. It's like I think there's a chance.
I told Michael and Ryan that the other day. I think it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, every Steelers fan that I know is going to be all butthurt and be like, "Oh, we're undefeated." Blah.
I mean, listen, short week. We just lost Bud Dupree. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance, but Washington, their defense plays tough, but their offense is kind of meh.
Right. But the thing is, though, without Bud Dupree, again, yeah, our defense is not going to be at par. That's
fair. That's very fair. So all right. Let's go ahead and jump into what happened this past week. Now, last week I was traveling back to West Virginia whenever we normally record this, so Michael took it over. And I actually completely forgot to listen to the episode, so I don't even know what he talked about, what he touched on last week, how much
he touched on my penis.
That's normal. That's just a given at this point. I mean, everybody knows that. Right. So
I mean, he kind of he did the norm. He filled in quite nicely.
All right. Well, that's good. It's nice to know that somebody's doing their job because I sure as shit don't. But all right, we'll go ahead and start with my game versus Josiah. Josiah beat me 154.4 to 130. And my team did great. They
really did. You had a great showing.
Yeah. Just not a single one of my players got in the end zone. Not one.
This is kind of like the week where Michael scored 150 points, but he was playing me, and I scored 175.
Yeah. It's like, Josiah got lucky because everybody but Miles Sanders and I think Curtis Samuel, everybody, all the other players on his team scored at least one touchdown. Derrick Henry got 3. So, he got him 40 points. But Josh Allen only put up 15. Miles Sanders only put up 5. But my team, my two running backs, if they would have done what they normally do, I would have won this game because I was only down 24 points. Dalvin Cook's been putting up 30 points a game.
That's pretty weak showing from Cook and from Aaron Jones, for that matter.
Yeah, I'm getting so like everybody gave me crap for taking Aaron Jones from Ryan, but honestly, Aaron Jones has not gotten me more than 13 points.
Oh, he's really underperformed for sure.
Yeah, and it's it's kind of irritating that I give up one of my best players for who I thought was going to be an even better player, and as soon as I gave him up because he had been hurt, he starts doing really well, and my guy's just sitting over here, and Jamal Williams on my bench, taking the touchdowns from him. So, but I mean, my team did great. Tom Brady had me 21 points, DK Metcalf 22, Devontae Parker 15, Gronkowski 13, Austin Eckler
was great.
Yeah,
Eckler had a great bounce back week from an injury.
Yeah, like I saw him on IR or on the waivers and saw something where he was expected to come off of IR. Not like they didn't expect him to play this past week, but I was like, well, that'd be a good pick up, keep on my bench just in case. And they announced he was playing, and I'm like, I'm throwing him a flex. So and it worked out great. But had the Saints defense playing against Denver with no quarterback, and they only got me 14. Like I was expecting a 25-point game from them. So
listen, Denver's a whole complete mess of their own for real right now. I mean, you want to start one of your assistant coaches at quarterback, there's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was just bad. But yeah, I mean, Josiah, like I'd say Josiah beat me. Josiah got lucky because all of his players got in the end zone and none of mine did. Because even if Derrick Henry would have scored 2 touchdowns instead of 3, if Justin Jefferson would have scored 1 instead of 2, and if Metcalf would have caught one of the 2 touchdowns that he was thrown that he dropped in the end zone, there's 2 of them. If he would have caught one or not, if not both of those, if anybody else on my team would have gotten the end zone, this would have been a lot closer.
Right, and of course, it didn't help that Nick Chubb was, he was also pretty fantastic this week.
Yeah, and like I was watching, he
played Jacksonville.
Yeah, and for most of that game, he didn't have many points, and then towards the end of the game, they started using him more, and his points just kept going up.
Garbage time always counts in fantasy.
Yep. So that knocks me out of the playoffs. So that sucks. But I guess
champ, no more.
Yep. It's been a shitty year. I was doing great until Dak went down, and then once he went down, I was scrambling for quarterback. Went through a few people. Would have probably won last week versus Michael, but Joe Burrow got hurt. It's like I was actually expecting
the worst luck at that position.
Yeah, it's just bad. So better luck next year, I guess. But I'm gonna pound my way through the consolation bracket and win that first overall pick.
Pro advice, pro tip: do not draft the Giants starting running back.
Well, yeah, Nathan's proof of that for the past 2 years. He's drafted.
I'm not even going to name his name because I feel like if I say his name, Nathan might be upset.
Saquon Barkley. I'll whisper it.
Sorry, Nathan.
Just in case he's listening on a low volume.
Right. We didn't want him to hear because that's why I just told him the running back.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be pounding my way through the contenders or consolation bracket. So hopefully something good happens over there, and I'm not stuck with like number 6.
We shall see.
All right. So on to the next game. We'll go ahead and just move on to your game.
Sounds good. You mean the when you say my game, you mean the Tyreek Hill show?
Yeah, dude. Like if Tyreek Hill wouldn't, Tyreek Hill would have had a normal game, like Brittany would have beat you.
Oh, for sure, for sure. If Tyreek Hill would have put his normal 15 points, yep, I was done.
Dude, so Tyreek Hill, I don't if you're listening and you don't follow football this close, Tyreek Hill had. Let me get the complete stats real quick.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's absurd. Where's it at? Why did you take me to his full career stats? You stupid thing. Okay, he had 13 catches for 269 yards. That's average of 20.7 yards per catch, 3 touchdowns, and like 250 of that was like in the first half.
Yeah. In fact, didn't he have something like 2 touchdowns in the first quarter?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Dude, it was like I posted in the Discord. I was like, holy hell. Like, and then you finally saw it and you were like, holy shit. Like,
I would just really like to thank Ryan Turner for trading Tyreek Hill to me for Jonathan Taylor.
Right? Dude, I'm really upset that we couldn't make that trade earlier in the year where you would have given me Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, because that would have saved my ass this week.
Right. So, personally, I mean, I'm glad I didn't make that trade.
I mean, you've been a lock for the playoffs for like the past 5 weeks, so
right.
It wouldn't have mattered. But like, so your team didn't do well. Alvin Kamara only got you 5 points because
Murray was terrible.
Yeah, Murray only got you 7, which makes DeAndre Hopkins' numbers shitty. He only got you 8. James Robinson got you 24. Travis Kelce 12. David Montgomery got you 22.
Yeah, I picked him up off the waivers last week.
Yeah, that's a
kind of I thought like, well, you know what? He's playing Philly.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry, playing Green Bay. Right, I was looking at the wrong line, so I knew that he would probably do well.
Yep. I mean, if Tyreek Hill would have had a normal, I mean, even a 15-point game, this is a completely different story. But his score alone got you up to 99. Hey, can you leave, please? Thank you. Can you close the door, please? Thank you. I'm recording. All right. My niece came in.
Oh.
All right.
She just wanted to see Uncle Daniel.
No, she was getting ready to jump on the bed. So it's like, no, you're not supposed to do that anyway. I don't think she knew somebody was in here. I think she just kind of snuck in.
Right.
But yeah.
Jeez, Nathan, keep track of your kids.
Right. Brittany put up 112 points, which was one of her better games in recent memory. But yeah, I mean, do you have any other words to say about this game?
Honestly, I went in this game thinking I'd probably lose. I kind of got lucky that McCaffrey was out again this week. And I would say I'm also kind of lucky that Adam Thielen was also out this week. Because they may have done well. Of course, Mahomes, obviously, with the Tyreek Hill connection, did pretty spectacular for himself. But, really, she had a pretty poor showing from her defense. And at the flex spot. But, I mean, like I said, Tyreek Hill's absurd score is what won me this game.
Yeah. I mean, 51.4 points and half-point PPR. If we were in full-point PPR, it would have been another 7 points.
I just want to point out that he scored more than 2/3 of what Nathan scored this week.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. Like, I think I looked it up. The record for the most fantasy points was right around, like, it was in the 50s, like 56 or something like that. Now, right. I didn't see, it didn't say if it was full point, half point, or just standard, like no point per reception.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure, but yeah, like if this was a full point PPR league, he would have had an extra 6.5 points, which would have put him up to 57.9 points, which is, it's just wild. Like,
I mean, I would say it's stupid, but the 51, it's stupid on its own. So.
Yeah. Seeing that number there is just kind of like, absurd. So yeah, Roger, you're sitting at 11-1. You've got a tough matchup this week, but we'll get into that in a bit.
Yep.
So all right, let's go ahead and move down the list here. We had Ryan versus Nathan. Nathan needed to win to stay in contention, but Ryan, alas, beat him 109.7 to 74.7. I mean, I'm not sure what's like Nathan's team's like, it's.
I think he was counting on Zeke to have another good game, but Zeke was bad. The Browns' defense was worse than bad. Prater had one of his worst weeks of the season. wasn't good. It wasn't good at all.
Yeah. It seems like no matter what he does to like help his team get better, it just doesn't matter. Because then somebody ends up shitting the bed. Like he benched Mike Evans versus Kansas City. You know, if he would have had him in there over, you know, say DJ.
I mean, at least would have made it a little more competitive.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have made a big difference, but.
Yeah. So it's like he didn't get much out of his running backs. And it seems like since Saquon went down, he's kind of been in that boat of like cycling through different running backs. He got Elliott in that trade a couple weeks ago, and Elliott had a good game last week versus the Vikings, but alas, Washington has a better defense than the Vikings do, and he had 2.4 points. Now, Ryan didn't have a great game either. He had a couple players get him a decent amount of points, but overall, let's see a lot of single-digit players on his team. Kenyon Drake did great, 22 points. Dallas Goedert, 17. And Devontae Adams with 15. Roethlisberger didn't even get 13 points.
That was an ugly game the Steelers played against the Ravens, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And he had...
Of course, you got a rivalry game, and Mike Tomlin's famous for coaching his team to play down to whoever they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, and just the whole controversy of COVID controversy and them having to play the game on a Wednesday at like 4 p.m. It's
just a weird game.
Yeah, so I don't fault, you know, anybody on either team for doing poorly, even though it felt like I was watching somebody rub two turds together whenever I watched that game, because the only bright spot in that entire game was defense. And I don't know if it's because the defenses on either side are amazing or if the offenses were just playing that poorly. Like that first quarter where there was like 3 turnovers in like 2 minutes, 3 or 4 turnovers. It was just,
right.
You know, like it just seemed like everybody was on the offensive side of the ball.
It was sloppy. It was very sloppy.
Yeah. So yeah.
Not as sloppy as that Mountaineer game today.
I didn't watch it. Was it bad?
Let's see. When I came in here to do the podcast with you, we were down 42-6.
Jeez. Weren't we supposed to have like one of the best defenses this year?
We have the number 1 defense in the country. Like, we hadn't allowed shit for points from anybody all year, and Iowa State dropped a 42 bomb on us.
Hey, you know,
mind you, Iowa State's really good, but
yeah. I mean, you can't have them all. You know, everybody's got that one game, unless you're the Cowboys, and that's every game. So yeah, Ryan beat Nathan. On to the next one. So next we have Michael versus Lyndon. Lyndon really needed to win this game to stay in the playoff contention.
He's in very good position right now, I'll tell you.
He is. He's in really good position. He beat Michael 120.5 to 113.9.
Which for Michael, this didn't matter because Michael had already clinched a playoff spot at this point.
Yeah.
So that was already set in stone.
Yeah. Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson, Will Fuller, a combined 65 points. Wild. Like, and then 2 or 3 days later, it comes out that Will Fuller gets suspended for PEDs.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, Lyndon got out of him what he needed, and now he's got to rely on.
And I tell you, it's a good thing that he got that performance from Will Fuller and Deshaun Watson because the rest of his team did not perform.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only 2 other players on his team that got over 10 points. One of them was Hunter Henry. The other one was the Rams defense. Everybody else got 8 or below. But yeah, like Michael, I was watching that game with him at my parents' house, and he was like, man, he's got 65 points, no way. And then, you know, like I say, play all your players against the Cowboys. Antonio Gibson got him 34 right out of the gate after that game. So Michael was pretty stoked that he might be able to come out and win that game. But Atlanta, something happened where Atlanta got good and destroyed the Raiders, and Nathan Peterman was starting by the end of that game. It was bad. 43
Michael-
to 6. Like,
Michael, my biggest thing from this is like, why in the world would you not play Jarvis Landry versus Jacksonville? What were you thinking?
Because Baker Mayfield's the quarterback.
Well, still,
Yeah.
I mean, Jacksonville's defense is not good
Yeah.
at all. I would have absolutely played Jarvis Landry instead of Bernard in that flex spot, and that would have won in the game. That would have been the difference.
Yep. Yeah, because he only needed 7 points, and you know,
And Jarvis put up 24
yeah,
to
excuse me,
Bernard's
sorry.
6. You're good.
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Michael's still in the playoffs, but he let Linden stay in contention.
He could have put Linden away, but you know it makes for a more interesting final week of the season
Yeah,
because now we have a play-in game.
Now it wouldn't have necessarily, like this game right here, like it wouldn't have necessarily knocked Linden out of the playoffs, because I lost. So it would have made next week a lot more intense as far as anybody with a 5-6 record or a 5-7 record would still have a chance.
Right.
But since him and Josiah both won and they play next week, it's anybody that's 5-7, you know, can't get in now. If Linden would have lost this, then there would have been a chance based on points. If Josiah were to lose this coming week, then one of those 5-7 teams would be able to get in. But now they're both 6-6. So regardless of who wins that game, you know, anybody else, you know, nobody else has a chance to get in. But good job, Linden. It's been a shitty year of fantasy. He's been complaining about it all year, but you're still right in there. So we'll go ahead and get to the last game. We had the Bruce versus Josh, so it was the Josh bye week. We don't have to go into too much detail because it was versus Josh. But Josh actually, you know, did better than normal.
Showing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like he almost got 100 points, you know?
he's kind of like me last season.
Yeah. Yeah, but see, like his team, it's not riddled with injuries. Like he's had a few here and there, but it's just his problem is that he drafted Lamar Jackson in the first round, which left him no option for a really, really solid start him every week running back, because they were all gone by the time it got around to him again.
Right, because I mean, really, the best running back on his team is Joe Mixon. So
Yeah.
that is what it is.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, it sucks. You know, like he's only won 2 games. I can't wait to do the recap of the season and see who the 2 teams that he beat were. But yeah, it just sucks to see Bruce win. So that's
It's because of his kicker.
Yeah, dude. His Young Hoku or Young Wei
Young
Koo.
Hoku is like
Yeah.
it's his MVP right there.
Yeah. He even changed his name again to Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, which is pretty funny. But
It's not bad. Not bad.
yeah. But yeah, Young Hoku got him 21 points. Allen Robinson, been solid for him, 23 points. But the rest of his team did pretty mediocre. Russell Wilson only got 14. Hines got him 13. Chris Godwin got him 13. Hawkinson with 11. Edwards-Helaire, 4 points. Like, you know, that first round pick. I'm so glad that he took him because I'd be stuck with those poor performances. But
Yeah, because you were a little butthurt about that one.
yeah, I thought he'd be a lot better. But you know, if one good thing came out of this year is that I wasn't stuck with him all year. So
True.
but yeah, Josh had a good game from Amari Cooper, 20 points. Robbie Anderson, 17. His defense got him 14. Ridley got him 14. Ryan Tannehill got him 19. But, you know, his 2 running backs and his tight end and kicker got him a total of like 9 points. So,
Can't win a game like that.
yeah, like his wide receivers were great. but like I said, no running back. Like even on his bench, Joe Mixon didn't play. Jerick McKinnon only had 4 points on his bench. So regardless, it just wouldn't have mattered. He just had a bad year. And it comes down to, I believe, don't draft a quarterback in the first round. Like, get a solid player and then move on from there.
Depending on how low you draft, you go running back or you pick up one of the top wide receivers. That's really...
Yeah, that's the best way to do it because, case in point, you'll end the season at 2-10.
Right.
So, but all right. So, we're not going to go over waivers this week because we're getting down to playoff time. So there's no need to keep going over that. There's not a lot happening on waivers, just like little things here and there anyway. And, but right now, we'll go ahead and go over the standings and see what needs to happen this week for certain teams to make it into the playoffs. So obviously, Roger, you're in first place at 11-1. Michael's in second place at 8-4. Brittany's in third place at 7-5.
Which all three of us have clinched a spot.
Yes. Yes, you're the only three that have completely clinched a spot. Out of playoff contention is me, Bruce, Ryan, Nathan, and Josh. And looking down through this, it really kind of irritates me because I have the second most points scored total, but I have the most points scored against me. So that's the reason. Or no. Sorry. Josiah has the most points scored against him by 12 points. But
I'd argue you also played the toughest schedule of the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, it's these stupid divisions. Like, there's no point to have divisions in fantasy whenever it's not based on divisions. When it comes down to playoffs, it's based on record. So, if you, Brittany, Josiah, and me all had winning records and, had 8 or 9 wins, we'd all be in the playoffs, even though we're all in the same division. So the divisions is dumb. The only thing that it does is matches you against those teams multiple times instead of just once. Like, I've only played Michael, Linden, Bruce. I think a couple of those I played twice, but like I had to play you twice. I had to play Brittany twice. I had to play Josiah twice, Ryan twice. Like everybody in my division, and I've got the hard. Playing against you twice. All these teams are in the are good. So it's like everybody else over on the other side has an easier run at it. They don't have to play the top teams twice. So I think that next year we need to move it to just a straight open, just 1 through 10, no divisions. It'll make it more fair.
We shall see what happens.
So, all right. So yeah. So this week, basically, Josiah and Linden are both at 6-6, and they play each other. So whoever wins that makes the playoffs. Even if it comes down to a tie and like I were to win, they would still make it in based on record. So regardless of what happens in any of the other games, this is the most important game this week.
Right, and it's also worth noting that if Brittany loses, that will also affect the 3rd and 4th seed. That'll go to points.
Yeah, that is true.
Because Michael's clinched the 2nd seed as he's in a different division than the 3 of us.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Michael were to lose and Brittany were to win, that would move those around too, because then the records would be tied, and Brittany has more points than Michael. And also, it might, if like Brittany loses, and depending on who wins between Josiah and Linden, Josiah's got more points than Brittany, but Linden's got less points than Brittany. We'll figure all that out next week, but right now it's just like a lot. Yeah, basically, we'll go ahead and go over this game because it's the most important one of the week. Josiah versus Linden, and then we'll move on to all the other games. So we'll break this one down a little bit better or a little bit more in detail than the other ones since it means the most, I guess. So
I really hope that ad on ESPN's fantasy page didn't just pick up on the recording.
it shouldn't, no.
Okay. I'm just going to, sit here and wait for this ad to play.
Yeah, I always forget about that. Like whenever you look at the other, like the previous matchups, it doesn't pop up. But whenever you go into this week's, it's like, Joe, we were brought to you ad free, but you have to watch this ad first. It's like, then you're not ad free. You're not. So, all right. So this is the matchup of the week, the game of the week, the game of the year. I honestly hope that they tie. Actually, no, I don't, because then Josiah wins.
Yeah, because it gets points.
But yeah, so we've got Josh Allen at San Francisco versus Deshaun Watson at Indianapolis.
Indy's defense has been slipping for a few weeks.
They have been. And San Francisco has been stepping up. I mean, they beat the Rams.
I kind of like Deshaun Watson in that matchup. I think Deshaun's got a better... I think he's going to get more points.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. Josh Allen hasn't been the typical Josh Allen of getting 30 points a game. So I would say that Deshaun Watson probably does put up more points. We got Derrick Henry and Miles Sanders for Josiah, and Damian Harris and Raheem Mostert for...
I don't like that.
Yeah, for Josiah. I mean, if Raheem Mostert can get back to his normal beginning of the year Raheem Mostert versus Buffalo, which, I think he might have a good game because Raheem Mostert's more of that chuck down running back where they'll just chuck those short passes to him and then he'll run for 80 yards and a touchdown. And after watching last week's game versus Buffalo, that's what Austin Eckler is. And they were just chucking everything to him, and he ended up with almost 20 points. So I think Raheem Mostert could have a good game, but I think it's going to balance itself out with Damian Harris.
I think Derrick Henry outscores both those guys. Against the Browns?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Browns they had I don't know what happened last week, but they
played pretty poorly last week against Jacksonville on defense.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Derek, he's not gonna do what he did last week. He'll probably get in the end zone once and have like 120 yards, I'd say. So he still almost 20 points, I would say, from Derrick Henry. I think it's probably right up there. Then we've got AJ Brown and Justin Jefferson for Josiah versus Tyler Lockett and Stephon Diggs for Linden. I mean, these come down to matchups. I mean, Josh Allen.
Lockett's got a pretty nice matchup.
Yeah. And if the thing is Stephon Diggs, if Josh Allen's throwing him touchdown passes, Josiah gets points, but there's more points going to Stephon Diggs. So,
yep. Receiver always gets more in that scenario.
Yep. So there's a good chance. I mean, Justin Jefferson versus Jacksonville, though, I think that Adam Thielen's going to be back, so he's probably not going to have another 2-touchdown game, but it's versus Jacksonville. So, if they can come out and score pretty quick in the first half, the second half, they should be able to just run the ball. So I think he'd have a pretty decent game, but I honestly like Linden's wide receivers better.
Well, that's good because he doesn't have anybody on the bench to play wide receiver for him.
Yeah.
Since Fuller's suspended, I mean, he has no other options here.
Yeah, that's true. Then we've got Robert Tonyan for Josiah at tight end and Hunter Henry for Linden at tight end. Obviously, Hunter Henry is going to do better than Tonyan. New England, I don't watch New England games, but, they beat the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So there's that, but I don't think they're going to win versus the Chargers. I think the Chargers will beat them. And I think Hunter Henry, he's been solid every week, so I think that's good. Nick Chubb versus Chase Claypool in the flex.
it's that could kind of go either way. Depends
Yeah.
on how much they use Hunt.
Yeah. I mean, it really depends. I mean, Washington's got a good defense, but I mean, Amari Cooper had 20 points. He had some really nice catches. So,
Right. I mean, who's Washington going to focus their coverage on? Are they going to cover Claypool more? Are they going to go for Juju? I mean, there's some talented receiver in Pittsburgh, so they got to figure out who they want to focus on.
yeah. I mean, it seems like, Claypool's more of a, I feel like he'll be targeted more because the coverage won't be as much on him. Because I feel like every time I see him catch a ball, it's along the sideline. Like, I don't watch a lot of Steelers, but he doesn't play in the slot, does he?
No, not typically.
Yeah, then I think he'll be fine because Washington plays really, like, from what I've watched over the last 2 games that we've played him anyway, in the slot, that's where CeeDee Lamb plays mostly, and he didn't do too well last week. So Claypool could have a big game. Chubb, honestly, could have a big game too. It just depends,
Right.
like you said, on Hunt or, how they use either of them in that game. The defenses, I think they both have a good chance of putting up good amount of points. Steelers versus Washington and the Rams versus Arizona. Arizona's coming off that crushing defeat by the
That was a
Patriots.
pretty poor showing by the whole offense there.
Yeah.
Minus Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's a divisional game though, so it honestly could be the same. So the Rams, Rams have a good defense. There's a very good chance that they get him 15 points. That wouldn't surprise me. Steelers versus Washington. I mean, there's a good chance that they'll get him 25. So it's it's really hard to tell. And then the kickers, it's whatever. Kickers are a dime a dozen.
Unless you're Young Hokia.
Yeah, unless you're Young Haku. I just realized that the baby monitor's playing in the background.
We'll return after these messages.
I'm picking Josiah.
I am not. I'm picking Linden.
I think Josiah's got a better running back matchup. Receiver wise, I think it's kind of a push there almost. Maybe Linden's got a little advantage there. I like Josiah better in the flex and on defense, so I think Josiah wins this one.
Yeah,
I think it's close though. I think it's less than 10 points.
Yeah, I mean, right now Josiah's projected 115. Linden's projected at 105. Projections don't matter. As we've seen so many times this year, people will be projected at 125 and score 70, or they'll be projected for 105 and score 170. So it doesn't really matter what the projections are. I don't know. Like I'm probably picking Linden because I don't want Josiah to make the playoffs because he just beat me, and for other reasons.
And it's Josiah.
Yeah, it's Josiah. Yeah, Linden deserves it. Linden's had a rough go at fantasy football for a long time, and I think he deserves at least a shot in the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Linden.
I'd like to see him make the playoffs.
Yes,
I would.
Yeah, even though he's going to play you the first week and get stomped. So,
Right.
Either way. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll move on to we'll just move down the list here. Bruce versus Nathan, a meaningless game, but some very interesting things that Nathan did with his team this week. He's not tanking. So Nathan went out and basically dropped the players on his bench that he wasn't going to be using and picked up some random players that are like really boomer bust players. Like they've had great games, but then the rest of those games are like, 2 or 3 points. Then they'll have a 30-point game like Valdez Scantling and Tyler Croft. These
Joshua Kelly, who I just dropped.
Yeah. So what he's doing is seeing if he can beat Bruce because he's out of the playoffs anyway. So
Right.
He's going to see if he can beat Bruce with his team. He's got Mitchell Trubisky in his quarterback, Devin Singletary, Ezekiel Elliott, Brandon Cooks, Marquez Valdez Scantling, Tyler Croft, Joshua Kelly, Chargers defense, and Matt Prater.
I will say this. I like the Trubisky play because I like that matchup against Detroit. I do not like that Joshua Kelly play because Eckler's getting the reps. That's just
Oh yeah,
that's a bad move in my opinion.
yeah. I mean, he's just trying something out to see if it'd be
Right.
possible to beat Bruce. Which, if he wins, it'll make the victory that much sweeter. One, because it's against Bruce, and two, because he beat him with a bunch of waiver pickups from this week.
Right.
But yeah, Bruce has got his typical Russell Wilson, Edwards-Helaire, Naeem Hines.
Who is questionable.
Oh, yeah, he is questionable.
And so is Allen Robinson.
Yep, Allen Robinson's also questionable. Sterling Shepard, TJ Hawkinson, Frank Gore, Raiders defense. And Young Oku will probably get him 45 points.
Probably.
So I'm going to look real quick. So Allen Robinson hurt his knee during practice yesterday, which is Friday,
Okay.
so that's not a promising sign. And Edwards-Helaire, let's look to see what the update on that one is. Because I thought that whenever I saw it earlier in the
He's
week,
sick, I believe.
that he's sick. Yeah, I thought that I saw where he was. It's like more of a doubtful, but they don't have him.
Yeah, I don't think he's practiced since like Tuesday or something.
Yeah, yeah, stomach virus. He missed Thursday and Friday, so I mean, it's both those guys being out on Friday's practice, especially with Robinson hurting his knee during the practice on Friday, is not good.
Yep.
I don't think that Edwards-Helaire would have done much anyway, but it's really him or I guess David Johnson he could throw in there because James Conner's out. Mike Davis is on a bye. I guess he could move up Frank Gore if he needed to, and then throw in somebody else into his flex.
Right, and really Beasley's the only option he's going to have.
Yeah,
To replace Robinson. And Beasley's not been fantastic. I had him on my roster for a brief amount of time. He had a couple good games, but mostly he's kind of okay.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of it, I don't think that there's a chance Nathan's going to win this with the lineup that he has. I hope he does because it would be pretty funny. But we go with Bruce.
No, I'm also picking Bruce, even with the possibility of Edwards-Helaire and Robinson not playing. I'm still going with Bruce.
Yeah. I think it'll be like a 115, 116 if they both play.
Right.
To Nathan might hit his projection of 72, maybe.
Oh, I don't know about that. That's a rough looking lineup.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm going to go with Bruce. All right. So I'm going to save our matchup for last because that one, we're both here. So there's no point to getting it out of the way first. We can just end it on that. So next we've got I'm a Librarian Bonner, Brittany versus Ryan, Mayor of TD City. Right now, Ryan is projected to win by 4 points. I don't know, looking down through here, I mean, obviously McCaffrey's on a bye. He's out anyway.
Right.
Terry McLaurin's questionable.
McLaurin's going to make or break the week for Brittany.
Yeah.
If McLaurin plays, Brittany wins. If McLaurin doesn't play, I think Ryan wins.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it, really.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could definitely see that. Devontae Adams versus Philly, though, for Ryan could be really, really good.
Right.
Evan Ingram versus Seattle, honestly. I don't know how bad Daniel Jones' injury is, but I know Colt McCoy is going to be starting, I think, this week for the Giants, so that might actually not be good for Evan Ingram.
Probably not. I would actually go ahead and start Goddard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Goddard versus Green Bay. Whenever, I mean, you saw it against Seattle. Like, it was just across the middle to Goddard. Like every freaking play, man. Like he did really well.
They like throwing to him, and there's a reason why. He's a pretty good tight end when he's healthy.
Yeah, like I have a feeling that Zach Ertz is going to be on another team in 2021.
Yeah, they don't need both.
Yeah.
They can trade one of them, and it would be Ertz, really.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's older. He's more injury prone. They wouldn't get as much out of him, but, why stick with the old guy that gets hurt whenever you can trade him for, 4th, 5th round pick and,
right.
Go with the younger guy. Roethlisberger's questionable. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. He's listed as questionable. He hasn't practiced all week, but, he's a veteran, so he could literally crawl out of bed an hour before the game and go in there and play.
Right.
And,
I understand it's not really an actual injury. He's just kind of like,
just kind of resting his knee.
Setting it out, resting the knee, yeah. Just making sure he's good to go.
Get them old bones of rest. So.
He is quite old at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, he came in the league 2004.
That is, damn, that's crazy. 16 years.
Yeah. 16 years in the league. He outlasted his draft mate Eli.
Hey, that's true. I mean, Eli, Eli was Eli. I don't think Eli deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but everybody's like, oh, Eli. No. Then they're saying, oh, Phillip Rivers. Like, fuck off. Neither of them deserve to be in there.
Nope.
So
both good quarterbacks, neither Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Agreed. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This Deebo Samuel versus Buffalo, I don't like that matchup for Ryan.
No.
Kenyon Drake versus the Rams.
I'm not a fan of that either.
Me neither. Jonathan Taylor. With Nyheim Hines back in Indianapolis, I mean, I honestly think Brittany wins this one pretty handily.
I think so too. I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah. Wayne Gallman.
But the projection has it close. I think that's not.
Yeah.
I think that's not accurate at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I would put.
But I still stand by. Like if McLaurin doesn't play, I can see Ryan winning.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that she's got Jamison Crowder in. She's still got Adam Thielen that she could put in there, and he's playing Jacksonville. I mean,
he would be a great play.
Yeah, like I would throw him in there over Crowder. Honestly, maybe over Higgins. And obviously, if McLaurin doesn't play, swap them out. But I would definitely be playing Adam Thielen. So, yeah, I think Brittany wins this one. Not by much, but, I think she wins it. All right, let's go to Michael's final bye week of the year.
This isn't going to be pretty.
No,
I bet Josh is not stoked about this matchup.
Right. Right now, Michael's got a 68% chance of winning the game. Man. Well, Josh hasn't set his lineup because Robbie Anderson's on a bye. I don't know if he's given up yet and just stopped checking it, but he can throw in Smith-Schuster, which would be a good matchup there. That
Burger King's Wi-Fi is not working, so he's not changed the lineup just yet.
You're right. They're down. They couldn't pay their Wi-Fi bill because they're giving away new PlayStations.
Right?
Absurd. Anyway, yeah, Michael's going to win this one. I mean, there's even if Josh puts in Smith-Schuster, he's only projected for 12 points, which only bumps his projection up to 84. Michael's projected at 112. I always say projections don't matter, but whenever you're projected for like 70 points, that's not a good sign.
Michael, you might look at putting Dobbins in your flex. He's playing Dallas.
Yeah.
That's putting that out there.
That's a very good...
coming off a good week, and he's playing Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he was coming off a good week against Tennessee. He didn't, really do much against the Steelers, but...
Yeah, that game was just a fluke anyway, so...
Right. That was we barely got that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Michael's going to win. There's no way he's not. like Lamar Jackson's out.
Although he did lose to Josh once this season.
Yeah, that is true. But, Joe Mixon's out. Lamar Jackson's out. He's got Tannehill.
Yeah, Josh has no chance.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah, there's no way. He definitely needs to get his lineup set. He would need massive games from Cooper and Ridley, but they're both playing really tough defenses. Jared Cook is really like one of those boomer bust guys. Either he's going to get you 0 points or he's going to get you like 18. And I don't see him having a huge game with Taysom Hill ever. So
I don't think so. Which is funny because actually I'm starting Taysom Hill in my other league this week at quarterback over Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I would too. Because they get down the goal line. I mean, it sucks for Kamara, but he's rushing every touchdown in. So, I honestly, like, if I had to make a bold prediction for Josh, I would say that his defense scores more than any of his wide receivers. So, I mean, it's Packers versus Philly. But, yeah, I think that the Packers defense will score more points than an Amari Cooper or Calvin Ridley. So, yeah, I mean, Michael's going to win. It would be nice to see Josh win and take Michael down a peg, but he's not going to. So, all right, let's go ahead and get to this last game, and we'll get everything wrapped up. Nice, neat little bow, so you guys can listen to this probably Monday after the game's already happened, since it was such a weird, funky week, and the waivers didn't even go through till yesterday. So, last game, we've got you versus moi.
50-50 split right now.
It is. It is a 125 projection for me to a 127 projection for you, and go ahead and take the lead on your team there, Roger, and let me know how you feel.
I don't feel good about Murray or Hopkins this week. The Rams defense is pretty solid. Kamara, I don't know how to feel about right now, because like you said, Taysom Hill, when they're in that goal line situation, he's going to run it in every time. Murray took the bulk of the workload last week as far as carries are concerned. But Kamara is still kind of a dual threat compared to Murray. That's why I still kind of have faith in him to do somewhat well. I really like James Robinson against Minnesota a lot. I think he's going to do well for me. I think Tyreek Hill will also. He's not going to have a 50-point game again, but he's going to get me a solid 15 to 20, and so is Kelsey. Flex, I'm not 100% set on just yet. I've got Montgomery in now, but I may change that between now and tomorrow. And the defense, I didn't really like either of my defenses right now, but I think the Seahawks is a better matchup.
Yeah,
against the Giants.
Yeah, especially if, well, I don't know, man. Like, if I was you, after watching what the the Washington's defense did to us last week, I'd probably start the Ravens versus Dallas.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, because that was a showing for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, how badly is the Ravens defense still going to be affected by COVID? I mean, they played well against Pittsburgh. They really did. But we'll see what happens. I do not like Justin Tucker this week. I do not trust Baltimore to score touchdowns.
Yeah. All right, I'll go over my team. Tom Brady's on a bye week, so I had picked up Derek Carr, and I was going to start him versus the Jets, but after watching what Atlanta did to him last week, I was like, fuck that shit. He had like 1 point. So I dropped him and picked up Fitzmagic versus Cincinnati.
He's got something to prove. I think that's a good play.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw him sitting there, and I'm like, hell yes, let's get some Fitzmagic up in this bitch. Let's beat Roger.
Because he was disappointed when he got benched, so he wants to show that he should be the starting quarterback for that team. So
yeah, and he did okay last week. He
got like 19 points.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
So not bad. And Cincinnati's defense isn't the best, so I have a feeling that that hookup with Devontae Parker will continue on this week because Parker got me 16 points last week. So I think it'll be a good little 1-2 punch. DK Metcalf versus the Giants. Love that matchup. Austin Eckler versus New England. Love that matchup. Dalvin Cook versus Jacksonville. Boy, he might.
Yeah,
he might get.
He might score 40 points.
Yeah, like there's a very good chance. I moved Aaron Jones out of my flex, and honestly, with how he's been playing, like there's a good chance that I might start somebody else over him. I don't know. Maybe throw Tyler Boyd in there and see, if he can do anything. But they're playing Miami.
I don't know though. Without Burrow there in Cincinnati, I don't know if that's a good play or not.
Yeah, like
Green Bay is playing Philadelphia, so.
Yeah, I mean he had his worst game last week with the new quarterback. So
right.
So yeah, he's probably not gonna get in there. But I'll probably keep Aaron Jones. I had Gronkowski. He's also on a bye. Jonnu Smith was out, so I had to pick up another tight end. So I picked up Kyle Rudolph because they're playing Jacksonville. So
I'm not sure what you've had more issues with this season, tight ends or quarterbacks.
Both. Honestly, because issues as far as injuries, quarterback for sure. But issues as far as whichever one I start's the one that gets 0, and whichever one's on my bench gets me 18. Yeah, that's my tight end.
Don't got to worry about that when the others aren't playing, though.
Yeah, right. So throw in Kyle Rudolph, hoping for, I'll take a 1 catch for 1 yard and a touchdown because that's more than my tight ends usually do. So Saints defense versus Atlanta. Let's just look at this real quick. Last time they played Atlanta, they had 17 points. So, yeah.
Good matchup.
I mean, I'm hoping for, a few points. Then I picked up Jason Myers because my kicker is also on a bye. Seattle versus the Giants. So I figure, playing against...
They'll score on the Giants.
Yeah.
They should do well.
Yeah. So, I'm hoping for some, maybe 8 or 9 points there. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I like my matchups better. And if Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins even only double their score from last week, it's still not good for you. And I think that Alvin Kamara taking a hit with Taysom Hill at quarterback is going to hurt you too. Like, I honestly think that I beat you.
I'm picking you as well. Yeah. I don't like my matchups, and your matchups are pretty fantastic this week.
Yeah,
so I'm actually going with you in this one.
Yeah, I know it doesn't matter in the scheme of the playoffs or anything like that.
Right. If I lose this week, I lose. I've got the number 1 seed wrapped up. It's fine.
Yeah.
You have better matchups.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I think that the league needs me to win, and I think that you need to to lose one more game before the playoffs, just so you know.
Oh, really?
Well, because here's the thing. If Josiah makes it in, I don't want Josiah to win the playoffs. I don't want him to win the trophy. And I don't want Michael to win because he's already won it twice. And if Brittany wins it, it's in the same house with Michael, so Michael will just take the victory and be like, "Oh, I won. It's back in my house." But if you win, it's going to somebody that I actually care to win.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
What I need to do, basically my goal is to beat you now to show that you're not as invulnerable to defeat, but that'll put a little chip on your shoulder going into playoffs to prove yourself to be like, hey, I just got beat, but I'm not going to let it happen again, and just run through everybody in the playoffs.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, plus you deserve it, because, if you win the playoffs here, you won't have to worry whenever the Steelers go into the first round of the actual playoffs and lose horribly. So at least you'll have something to look back on 2020 and be like, hey, I did well.
The Steelers have not played the toughest schedule. You can definitely say that for sure.
Yeah. True. And the Cowboys almost beat them, and it still makes me happy.
They did. A lot of teams almost beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
It's that classic Mike Tomlin coaching job.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
He'll still get Coach of the Year if you go undefeated, though.
Oh, he will.
So, but all right. Any final words before we get wrapped up? I said I was going to keep this short. Guess what? It's been a fucking hour. Way to go.
Oh, yeah.
Can't help it. Talk football.
My final words, I don't have any. You can find my podcast.
Yeah.
The Gurus of Gaming podcast. New episode every other Monday, including this Monday. So we're giving away a copy of Cyberpunk 2077. If you listen to the show, like us on Facebook, watch for a post there, you could win free game.
Yeah. Do it. Win that game. Hopefully it comes out soon because it's like the 400th time they've pushed it back.
Comes out Thursday.
We'll see.
Supposedly.
Yeah, it's supposed to, but
I mean, I have it preloaded, so I'm assuming it's coming out.
Yeah. So yeah, check out the Gurus of Gaming. Also, I haven't really felt the need to tell anybody, or really cared to tell anybody, or it doesn't really matter. I deleted Facebook completely back at the beginning of
noticed
November.
that earlier.
So yeah, if anybody's been trying to get a hold of me, which I doubt you have been because nobody really cares, you can. I'm still on Instagram, Snapchat, and in Discord. That's where I live, is in Discord. So
That's where I contact you.
yeah, that's where we all talk. So if you could join my Discord, yeah. So yeah, no more Facebook. And honestly, it's been I like it. I like not having social media. It's pretty great. I keep Instagram just for podcast stuff, and following Tom DeLonge because he's a sexy man. But other than that, yeah. So let's get out of here, Roger. It was good to talk to you. It was good to talk about fantasy football, even though I'm out of the playoffs. But hey,
looking forward to see how the next 5 weeks pan out.
Right. Me too. I actually don't think it's 5 weeks. I think Michael switched it to a 1 round per.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it used to be it was a 2 week.
That
playoff.
would make sense because playoffs are going to start. It's going to be week 14 in the NFL. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because we used to do like all the way through week 17, and it was just obnoxious.
Which sucks because week 17 is just garbage time. Players rest, and
yeah,
you kind of get screwed for having a good roster at that point.
Yeah. So we did it to where each round of the playoffs is 1 game instead of 2. Even though it was cool to be neck and neck with somebody 1 week because your teams both did well, and then the other team took a shit and put up like 50 points the next week.
Pretty sure that's how I lost to Jed my first year in the league when he won his championship.
Yeah, probably.
Which I apologize to everybody in the league for letting that happen.
It's okay. It's okay. Nobody remembers it. I honestly, until you said that, I completely forgot that he won the trophy.
I remember because I lost that title game.
Yeah. Yeah, and I lost the game before that to Jed, so. But all right, we're going to sign off here. We'll talk to you guys probably Thursday this week, since the game is on Tuesday and not Wednesday. So
is that sweet music playing right now?
Yeah, it's playing. It's playing right now. Probably.
I like it.
Yeah, it's sexy.
I'd try to sing along with it, but I don't know if I'd sync up because I don't know where it is. So
we'll just
yeah.
Well, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
See ya. I think we clapped at the same time.
Yeah.
I like when we finish at the same time.
Me too. It's my favorite.